It looks like they put Millie's face on Margot Robbie's. Hey all, it's Aaron. I'm super excited about this video because Barbie season is right around the corner with the new Barbie movie coming out. I've been anticipating this film for a long time and I love that Margot Robbie is Barbie, but I've also been anticipating the dolls and what they would look like. I even made my own and put her in the different looks we've seen so far. And luckily I was able to get my hands on one of the official dolls a bit early. A couple of weeks ago we had gotten our first glimpse at this doll and the internet wasn't exactly pleased with Margot's likeness, or lack thereof. And to be honest, she wasn't really what I was expecting either, but I had to see her in person to know how I felt for sure. So we're gonna take a look at her right now. First, I wanna focus on the packaging. The packaging and the design is wonderful. We can see that beautiful vintage Barbie logo, and I'm so happy they chose this one because I think it's the prettiest of all of Barbie's. On the side of the box, there's a bee monogram and a shot of Barbie's dream house. On the back of the box, there's a greeting from Barbie Land in multiple languages and a shot of Margot Robbie as Barbie. This is actually the first look we got to see of her in the role, and being a Margot Robbie fan, I knew that she was gonna kill it, but again, this just solidified that she was gonna be a great Barbie. Let's take her out of the box. So this doll is wearing that pink gingham dress that we see in the trailer. Pink gingham definitely has a role in Barbie history, especially in the vintage pieces, so it's no wonder that Barbie is going to be incorporating that in some of her looks. I thought I would be underwhelmed, but in person I think I like her a lot better. So in that first look, besides the face, the bangs are the biggest problem for me. The style needs to be curtain bangs and they gave her a fringe, and I think that they should have just left the bangs long and then left it up to us to style it. Of course, bangs are a huge part of Barbie's aesthetic legacy, but because this is for a movie look, I feel like it needs to be accurate. But more on that later, let me take her all the way out of the box. Okay, she's out and I just need to take out her plastic backing. Barbie's free and let's get down to what we all want to talk about, her face. So as a fan of celebrity dolls and Margot Robbie, the one thing I wanted was a sculpt with her likeness. So right off the bat, I could tell that Mattel gave us that. The problem is obviously the screening. It looks like they put Millie's face on Margot Robbie's. It's not working, and just like the bangs, I don't know how that got approved. Her jewelry is a great touch, and her necklace, earrings, and bracelet look just like the ones worn on screen. She also has this white buckle on her belt. And not to be a nitpicker, but it should have had this more rounded shape. Unless of course it's magically gonna change in the next scene. I mean, hey, I haven't seen the movie. The shoes she comes with are these light pink high heels. They look great, but FYI, they don't exactly fit Made to Move beat. Her hair is saran, which is my favorite hair type, and it's long and wavy. Style-wise, it doesn't really look too similar to this. And I know I keep on using this picture, but it's the only one we have so far. The pink bow that she's wearing is attached to her head with a plastic tag. It's made out of flat pink ribbon and doesn't have the gingham detail we see in this shot. I'm going to move her hair out of the way to show you that the dress has a Velcro closure. You can see the genuine Barbie logo emblazoned in her back, as well as the year that this body was registered. And speaking of bodies, she uses the articulated fashionista one, which honestly I'm not a fan of. It's not bad. Personally, I always prefer more articulation. The posability is still pretty decent, but I feel like this body doesn't work well for every doll. So besides moving at the head, shoulders, elbows, and wrists, she can also move at the hips and the knees. And now onto her dress. From the first glimpse, I wasn't very impressed. It felt like the dress was polyester with the gingham printed on, and it just looked really stiff and flat to me. So it is polyester and the gingham is printed on, but in person it feels much softer. When I think of gingham, I of course think of Dorothy's iconic blue dress. I have this 2013 doll and the dress actually seems like it's made out of soft cotton. But I understand for cost cutting or budget purposes, they probably couldn't use it for this Margot Barbie doll. One thing I also really liked about this dress is that the pleats spread out nicely. That way you can puff out the skirt and get a better proportion. It can help convey a lot more movement, which is great if you love dynamic poses like me. Another good thing is that this doll has fabric underwear instead of it just being painted on. And if any of you are thinking, don't get weird, we all wear underwear and apparently Barbie does too. This is the dress off the body. As you can see, it still retains its form. One small complaint is that I wish that the dress was more tucked in at the waist. This whole look is very 1950s inspired and there was a big emphasis on waists and proportions for these dresses. I think they should have used the fashionista body with a more cinched waist. That would have helped the torso to skirt ratio look better. And before anyone gets the idea, I'm not saying Barbie should be skinnier. I really appreciate the body diversity we've seen on Barbie so far. I'm merely suggesting a body that would suit the aesthetic purposes of this dress better. So back to her bangs. Before I did any changes on her, I wanted to see how much I could work with the bangs and see if I could achieve the more accurate curtain bangs. It didn't look horrible, but you could still see her scalp through the middle. So all in all, she's a decent doll in my opinion. She's supposed to retail for $24.99 and be coming out very soon. Of course, I had to compare it with the Margot Barbie custom I made last year. She's wearing that epic disco cowgirl look that leaked from the set pictures. Supposedly there's a doll coming out in this very look and I'm super excited for it. When those pictures of the official doll came out and people expressed how they felt, I saw many people bringing up and praising my doll, saying how much they loved the likeness. That honestly felt so nice, and this doll will have a special place in my heart for that. But yeah, together these Margot inspired dolls look like very different people and probably cousins at best. Now I can start those much needed changes. So I washed out the gel from her hair and tried to flatten them and see if I could work them into those curtain bangs, and I just could not. They'd be pretty decent for those floofy bangs that Barbie wore in the 90s, but that's not what we want at all. So because of that, they simply gave me no choice and they're gonna have to go. I'm gonna chop off the whole area of the bangs, which was actually pretty thick to begin with. I have to be careful that I don't cut any part of the long hair that I want to keep. So here's after I've already cleaned out all the area where her bangs were. I had to scrape out and pluck out her hairs, which took a while. The good thing about seeing her like this is that I realized that the screen looks a lot better without that big massive chunk of bangs covering a lot of her eyebrows. Now I'm going to start the reroot. Fortunately, I had a similar matching tone for Saran hair, so I'm just rerooting the area as well as adding a hair part. I love her hair like this, it looks so Malibu Barbie. So she's left with these long pieces sticking out, so I need to cut the length to match it to the original hair. I removed the screening with acetone. The great part is that Mattel didn't use that pixelated method, which takes forever to take off. Like this, it just takes about a minute to have the face completely off. Without all that paint, we get to appreciate some of the details that we normally don't get to see. After a few coats of sealant spray, I can start the repaint. I carefully map out her features in watercolor pencil. Definitely gotta make sure that I get Margot's excellent eyebrows down. And I do her blue eyes, which are so expressive. And of course, her smile. One funny thing I love about this sculpt is how deeply her nostrils were sculpted. Anyway, I continue defining the features with acrylic paint. After the teeth are done, I'm going to move on to the most important feature for this, her smile. Because Barbie has this big beaming smile, I'm going to have to be careful with her teeth. Margot has such an amazing signature smile, and I think it's perfect for Barbie. After I finish with the teeth, I can move on to what is probably my favorite part, and that's usually the lips. I mix that sort of warm berry pink color that we see on Margot as Barbie. Honestly, any shade of pink would be better than that light pink, almost nude color that they chose for her screening. Some final touches like blush on her cheeks to bring her to life, and the catch lights in her eyes. I'm done and I can go seal the paint now. After curling her hair in what will be her new bangs, I put on her head on her new body. Of course, I put her on a made to move. Now we cut the bangs, and I almost don't want to let go of them, but gotta do what we gotta do. Honestly, I still get nervous about cutting bangs because if you cut them too short, it's over. So my advice is to start long and cut shorter as you go. Now I cut the other side the same way. After I just do some final trimming, and for the finishing touch, I'm gonna put the bow in the correct place, mind you. I had to make sure that the back looked nice too. And this is the Barbie movie doll as we knew her before and after. Personally, I think that Margot's likeness ended up really coming through in the sculpt. It just goes to show that this doll has so much potential with the right paint and of course the correct bangs. One fun thing about the packaging is that in the back there's a backdrop of Barbie Land. You can spread out like this and it can make a cute display. And once again, here's a side by side with this doll and the Margot Barbie custom I created last year. Previously, the difference between these dolls was very apparent, and this time it also is as well, but in a good way. And now after all the changes I've made, I'm definitely sticking with the official one. Also, now that we have a Margot Robbie sculpt, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more Harley Quinn customs. I'm a big fan of her Harley Quinn as well, so I'm looking forward to that. And there are still a lot of dolls from this Barbie movie to come. The costume design for this movie is more than we could have asked for. And we already know some of the looks that the dolls will be having, but there are still so many surprises. One thing's for sure, after this customization, I'm probably gonna have to give them all a repaint. So will you be buying any of the dolls from this movie? I hope you liked my video, and if you want to see more of my doll projects and reviews, subscribe to my channel. I make videos in both English and Spanish. Thanks for watching.